of light on Lake Mead at a certain time and place on a certain summer day. Terminal. The word rattled like the gates of a crypt, all rust and the smell of decay, but also conjuring adventure. A train pulling into a station on an evening in Casablanca, or roaring through a dark desert, its lit carriages pulling through the night like a spell, an affirmation that it can all mean something. Then her job at the diner, precarious as it was with the slow onset of decrepitude, which announced that their town, Gabriel, named for that indomitable angel of light, was wandering into a ghost as the government moved the freeway, came to an abrupt end. Only the most adventurous tourists came through anymore. Even the steady flow of Indians from the reservation dried up like a desert creek in high summer, when a Denny's made its way resolutely, if reluctantly, onto the outskirts of the res. The small strip of land her people had tried to grow artichokes and dates on when they moved north, because, as her father said, "You came along, my love, my Salah," had failed to yield anything but more dirt. The truth was that her father was already caught in a pause, in a moment of rest, before the courage to move had come upon him. That was why he named her Salah, the Hebrew word that marks a pause in a psalm, a moment to consider the music. And so they moved north and had lived here in Gabriel since. That is, until her father was shot by a sheriff too excited to see that the gun the black man was holding was actually just a pipe he was packing with tobacco before sucking on it. Salah had just turned 4 when it happened, and never fully understood his death. Her mother did her best until she died shortly after. Heart attack was the official reason, but Salah knew it was really heartbreak. At 18, she got pregnant from a boy on the nearby army base who promised to marry her, but who shipped off soon after her belly began to show. She never heard from him again. Many people have come back from worse, so Salah, like everyone in the dusty town of Gabriel, soldiered on. But her leukemia and the closing of the diner sealed everything into a premature death. Now there was nothing left for Salah but the glass case, the display that old Dan the mechanic had built her from the scraps he could spare. It was a curious thing, this glass box, more terrarium than fish tank, 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide, glass bolted together as though by Dr. Frankenstein, with a sluggish fan, powered by a car battery cut into the back panel, struggling to move the hot Nevada air. Salah sat with that box every day, dressed like a carnival gypsy, under a large 7-Up beach umbrella, the terrarium by the table, a deck of tarot cards before her, offering readings for $1, and for $3, the chance to look under the velvet cloth draped over the terrarium at the monster inside. More often than not, people chose the terrarium, and she would slowly peel back the green velvet drape to reveal the conjoined 7-year-old twins, sitting or sometimes standing in the tank, one reading, the other holding court loudly until, annoyed by a particularly careless onlooker, he would crawl under his caul and hide. That was how the years went by, she getting sicker, the twins getting bigger, until Water couldn't stand in the tank anymore, but sat cross-legged at the bottom, still reading, always reading. Fire held rapid-fire philosophical debates with customers, while Water read, pausing only occasionally when prodded to engage, to look up and speak in simple facts, like, "Cats cannot taste sweet things," or, "Cold water weighs more than hot." Their fame, if one can call this fame, spread, and soon tourists were stopping over just to see them. It wasn't long before a traveling circus came by, more sideshow than circus, truth be told. The owner, a Mr. Jacobs, paid $100 to see the twins. "It's more than you need to pay," Salah said. "As you can see, we are alike," Mr. Jacobs said. "You and I, parents to what some might call freaks, but which I tend to think of as marvels of the Lord's creativity. And in my sideshow,